You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Tiona Hobson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Castle After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Castle After Show.
Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year. Welcome back to Castle AfterBuzz TV. I'm Tiona Hobson, and joining me is the one and only.
Hi, guys. I'm Kate Aquillano, and sadly, we don't have Paige here.
Paige is stuck in the thunder, snow, ice storm of the East Coast.
Tundra of the East Coast that's happening right now.
We're in sunny California. Sorry, Paige.
I'm like cold and it's 60 out. I'm really sorry to our East Coast viewers.
Yes. This is Under Fire, Season 6, Episode 11. It was a very emotional episode this week.
I don't think I've watched Castle since day one, episode 1. I don't think there's ever been a more somber, depressing, really high stakes episode.
Yeah.
Like, there's always some levity and some comedy, but there really wasn't that much of it in this episode.
Yeah, there was like the little like sly one-liners, but overall it was, I mean, even though you knew deep down that they would survive,
you knew.
It was still like, I was on the edge of my seat. I was crying. I never cry.
There were tears.
There was lots of tears here at AfterBuzz tonight. I was like,
we'll get to the point specifically, but tears were strolling down.
Yeah, so tonight's case was all about arson. We have this serial arsonist on the loose who we find out, you know, is suspected of 10 other crimes because they get to the crime scene. There's a body that has a bullet wound in the head.
Right.
It's burnt to a crisp, so there's no way to really tell who this guy is. Lainey has her work cut out for her.
Yeah. So she gets him back in you know, her lab and realizes he was shot before he was burned. So he didn't like die in the fire. He died from the gunshot wound. But she can't figure out who he is. No, like you know, they do dental records. They do, you know, if they can get DNA. She has no idea.
The only thing she has going for her is that he had a knee.
Like he broke his
he had like
leg and he had like screws
in his leg. So, you know, she was working on getting a trace. But right then is when the fire investigator, whose name we never quite
we were like, we're just going to call her fire investigator.
Yeah, she's fire investigator.
But she was hardcore.
Yeah, and I can't remember the actress's name, but she is on Army Wives on Lifetime.
Oh, is she?
And I love that show.
Nice.
So I was like,
she did kind of look
Army Wives.
familiar.
Yeah, I was like,
I
Army
liked
Wives.
her.
Awesome.
She meant business.
Yeah, she did. So she comes in and realizes that, you know, her partner and another fire investigator named McCain.
Yeah, Blake McCain.
You know, she was able to identify him because he had the same needs
problems.
Yeah,
and he was investigating all of the arson cases where the arson left this X as a signature. So once she found that in the building that was burned, she knew he might be involved because he had been investigating it for so many years. She called him. He didn't answer. She got a gut feeling, and it ended up being out. It was Blake.
Yeah, it was Blake. It was her partner and colleague, and so that was kind of sad.
It was sad.
It's like, you know, he had just taken off vacation days. He's like obsessed with finding out who this person is because, you know, it's been 10 years. There are 10 plus fires that he's left his signature. They call him the Phantom
because he has no idea. He's not gotten very close, but they get all of his files from the, you know, all of his investigation, and you know, there's some in his office, and then we find out there's some in his car.
Yes.
And through those files, we find the name Adam Ferguson, who was a really creepy scene. The really creepy
Kudos
interrogation.
to him too. That actor was.
It was good. I was like creeped out.
It was almost one of those things where it was so good that you kind of thought it was normal. You know,
yeah.
Like if I saw him walking down the street, I might think that was actually the way he was in real life and that he wasn't just acting.
It's
like that scary level of acting where he's really
good. We're gonna see him again.
The way he talked about fires, I was like,
I know
they were
the way
person
and like the camera movement like was keep going like in and in on his face as he kept like describing the fires, and I'm just like, oh.
And you could see in his eyes how excited he was getting talking about it because he's an arsonist, and
so Blake put him away for arson, but he had gotten out 5 years prior. And we find out that who's our victim? Blake had called Adam like the day before he died. And so Beckett and Castle kind of like, well, why did he call you kind of thing? And then he says that Blake asked for his help.
Which, I mean, it makes sense that you would go to someone who...
I guess.
Who is an arsonist to kind of try and... If you're trying to think like an arsonist...
I guess it reminds me of like Catch Me If You Can. Like, they need like
an expert
checks on... fake checks. They go to the expert.
Yeah,
it's like white collar.
White collar. It's like you go there, you have him help you out, you know, pay him some money. Clearly the guy, I mean, he looked like he needed a little help.
He needed a lot of help.
He needed a lot of help. But, you know, it made sense that he would go to someone like that to help get some facts for his case that he's building, because clearly he's obsessed with this and he's close.
He picks up on the finer details, which he gives the detectives a really big clue that the person that's setting these fires loves them, like gets a high from them so much that he's there and he's watching. So like when these fires are happening, he is still there, like admiring his work.
Yeah, which leads Castle also to check into, this is the society we live in nowadays where everything's on the internet.
Right.
And that's kind of the downfall of every person who commits a crime. You hear it all the time where, you know, stupid criminals online. You know, it's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to post a video of me doing something illegal.
Like they'll find it.
They will find it and they will catch you.
I mean, keep doing it because you deserve to be caught. But
definitely
that's stupid.
But you're stupid, too. So this guy, his thing is there's this internet site called...
Pyrolicious.com.
Yes, for pyrophilia, which is fire fetish. Didn't know that was a thing.
The sad thing is it probably really does exist, but we won't get into that.
And the other thing is that, of course, Castle would know about it.
I know. That was one of the cute little, like, the moment of levity in this episode is, like, these little slide comments from Beckett, and that was one of them.
And that was one of them right there.
It was cute.
That was really cute. It's like, yes, of course. Why wouldn't Castle know about this? So they try to go to the guy who owns the site.
Yes, Milo Palick.
Yes, to try to figure out who sent in the video, because the video from their fire is there. While they're there, Beckett, you know, extremely in his face, trying to get him to answer some questions. His phone is going off left and right, and she's finally like, who is texting you right now?
Like, pay attention to me.
Like, there's a fire in Brooklyn, some abandoned warehouse in Brooklyn, and Castle and Beckett immediately know that it's the building that Ryan and Esposito are in.
And that's when we get to the heart of this episode, when they are in that building. So they find this building address in Blake McCain's files.
In his car.
Yes. And so they go to just check it out. And they actually find the arsonist workshop. And whoever the arson is, booby traps the workshop, and the alarm goes off and there's an explosion and they're trapped.
And that was one of the things that Adam Ferguson told to Beckett and Castle in when they were interviewing him, was that whoever the Phantom was knew fire so well that they didn't need a lot of accelerant or anything.
They knew
they knew how to destroy a building from within without much, and could destroy everything there. So with this being his lair, clearly, if he's ever found out, is booby trapped to destroy everything, all the evidence that could ever be used against this guy.
It was heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking, and for for like what, 5 or 10 minutes. You don't know if they're awake or not because we're only seeing the action from the outside. We haven't gone inside
and the action
seen them.
on the outside is the firefighters doing everything they possibly can, but they can't go into an unsafe building. So they basically have to pull everyone out because the building is collapsing and they can't risk their lives. And we know that they're in there, and they're like, "What? Wait, no one's going after them."
Like, I know they're in there. And then we finally get in there. Well, I mean, Beckett also has to take a phone call from Jenny, who, is Ryan's wife. And preggers. She's 3 days past her due date. This baby is coming any moment.
Like now.
Yeah. Her and Ryan have been testing the phone system all day. So she's been calling him repeatedly all day, and he's always picking up. So now he's not picking up. So she's worried. Beckett is like, maybe she's heard from him and they're not actually in there.
Right.
So she picked up the phone and then had to tell her.
And had to tell her, like, to stay calm, but something had happened. And that just broke my heart.
And that's the biggest fear of being anyone, fire department, police officer.
Yeah, they risk so
Army,
much.
Navy, like that phone call or, those situations are what you dread the most.
And your mind automatically goes to the worst.
Oh, yes.
So it was just like she's in probably, looking forward to the best time of her life, like welcoming their baby, and she gets this phone call.
That could change everything.
Yes. But then we finally get a look inside the building. They're alive.
They are alive.
But Ryan's legs are stuck under like a big beam.
Like cinder block.
Oh, like huge thing. But Espo's strong.
He is. And I'm not going to lie. Espo looks sexy all beat up. I'm a huge Espo fan.
I love that stuff.
His shirt was ripped and his pants were ripped and he's all bloody.
Bloody and dirt.
He had fine. Smoke smudges on his face. I was like, and still looking good. Yeah. Near death, but still looking cute.
That's right, Espo. But he was smart. He did like a lever thingy. Yeah. And he got Ryan's legs out. But they're still trapped.
They still had nowhere to go from there because the building floor collapsed. So they fell about 2 stories down.
To a sub-basement, they were calling it.
Which I had never heard of a sub-basement before because I grew up in California.
Something new.
Hey, I guess in New York they have these things.
I don't think we had them in Pennsylvania.
Oh,
maybe we do.
Maybe
we had basements.
Yeah. I don't know what the difference between a basement and a sub-basement.
Well, we learned that am I jumping ahead of myself?
No, you can say that.
So, they get the plans for the building, and this sub-basement isn't there. So they're like, what is happening?
See, maybe the sub... Oh, 2 level... Thank you, Marissa. A sub-basement is 2 levels of a basement.
Just so you know.
Thanks,
Marissa.
Thank you, Marissa. Our engineers keeping us up to date.
I love it.
So... While they're inside, because, eventually they do find out about the sub-basement part. But while they're in there, they're banging on pipes, trying to make noise.
No one can hear them.
Wasting their energy. And right when, it looks like they have no other way out, Ryan finds a computer cord and an old phone. Somehow he's able to...
I need to learn how to do this.
He's able to MacGyver his way.
I need to learn how to MacGyver because he calls Beckett's iPhone from this decrepit phone and wire thing, and you're just like, all right.
So one thing I will say, most people don't have people's phone numbers memorized
Oh my God, that's such a good point.
I mean, I know that but his cell phone was still on. He didn't have service.
Oh,
so maybe he could have looked it up. So I will give...
Him and Beckett are close.
Yeah,
he knows her number.
I have one friend's phone number whose phone number I have memorized.
Other than family.
Yeah, just in case,
Melody, you get a shout out.
Yeah.
One number still to this day.
So I'm glad that Ryan knew her number.
Yeah. That helped because they did get in contact with them.
Yeah, they did get in contact.
And now they know that they're alive and that the firefighters should start working on trying to figure out where they are in the building and how they're going to get them out.
Yeah, and during this time we have the captain back at the station with our fire investigator, whose name we forgot to write down, and because it's all over the news that there's possibly 2 police officers in the building that's burning right now. So they are all going over every file, trying to find the connection because they're like, there has to be some connection in this.
Yeah. And they do find out that there's this tech girl. We found out her name.
Yeah, but then we forgot.
Yeah, but she's good. She's good. Wherever they go, the tech girl, the geeky girl, this case moves forward. So she finds out that the video that was uploaded with the original arson was uploaded. The user uploaded like 5 other videos.
All the same buildings that have been burnt,
connected to this arson. So then they get the screen name or username, and then the captain goes and grills Milo, the owner of Pyrolicious, about who is this? Your members pay for the site. You must know who this username is. And he doesn't. He paid with a cashier's check, blah, blah, blah. But he texts him. I was like,
they have IM conversations.
Oh, IM conversation.
Yeah.
I was like,
about fires.
I was like, that's not cool.
That's not cool. But I will say in that scene, I really loved how passionate we got to see the captain being, because I mean, most of this season, it's been like, oh, okay, just go check in. You run over the facts with her, and she goes, solve the case and move on. Today we got to see her work, and even though the circumstances weren't the greatest, we still got to see her doing her job and really fighting for her team, and it shows how much they are a family, and they'll do anything for each other. So I really love that.
I love them. I love them all. But the heartbreaking part was they have Beckett on the phone. Jenny shows up, Ryan's wife, to the scene. She's in labor. They convince her to get into an ambulance to at least be hooked up and monitored, but she won't leave without Ryan. And Ryan gets on the phone with Jenny.
Oh my gosh.
And the tears just keep falling.
Boom. They were just coming down. He was basically saying goodbye to his wife. Because
he's like,
they're
I don't
running out of
leave.
Oxygen. There's
no way out.
There's no way out. They're both getting tired. The phone's about to go dead because the flames were just getting massive.
And then she's like, well, we at least need to name the baby. We need to do that together. Oh my God.
And even in this moment, I loved it because, he goes, if it's a boy, Javier. And there was a look, between the two of them.
I love those two are my favorite on that.
Yeah. And then a girl, Sarah Grace, after her grandmother. And after the phone goes dead, just typical Espo and Ryan. Espo's like, Javier, huh? You're gonna have a white Irish kid named Javier.
And it was just them.
It was just them.
Yeah. They knew, they didn't have to say anything else. That interaction, set it off.
That was till death do us part. That was their vows, and they were true to themselves.
Yeah.
But luckily,
the fire inspector, sorry, no name again, shows up to the scene, and they've had a break in the case, and they figure out that every one of the fires was inspected by the same person.
And not even that whoever was casing the joints, because something that the Phantom said was that these buildings were old and needed to be
they needed to be retired because they were old and decrepit and not being used.
The buildings he was targeting are all buildings that are old and decrepit and needed to be torn down. Who has that kind of information? Who can go
building
inside?
Inspector.
The building inspectors.
But wait, who called this the whole time?
That would be me.
That would be her.
For the first time ever, I got one right, guys.
She turns to me maybe 5 minutes in, less than 10 minutes for sure. I don't like that guy. I don't like him. I don't like the way Castle looked at him.
The third note on my notes is writing down, because when Castle and Beckett first got on the scene, the first person to speak to them was this guy named Mark Kimball, who was the fire safety guy, and he goes, you guys really shouldn't be in here. This building's not safe. And Beckett goes, our victim's in here.
Yeah.
So this is before she even got to see the body.
Yeah.
This guy. And then as they were leaving, Castle gave him the dirtiest look.
God, you're so good. I didn't even catch that.
And I just wrote it down. I was like,
I didn't write Mark Kimball's name until the back of my page. That tells you how good I am at predicting the murderer.
Sometimes I'm just going with my formula, the first person you see, but that usually only works on Rizzoli and Isles. It doesn't work here.
On Castle.
It doesn't work. But they never brought him in for questioning either. And they tried to throw us with the owner of the building, Mr. Torino. You know,
it was too easy.
Yeah, typical. Oh yeah, I'm a mobster, so I burned my building for insurance
money.
No, that's also stereotypical. Guys, you can't go with stereotypes against a whole.
You have to go with
ethnicity.
her gut instinct.
Mark Kimball.
And he was there.
And he was there because he had to be recording the
and
fire.
And he was filming it.
Which, I know there was a lot going on, but I was also thinking, hey, this is the guy who records all his fires, so wouldn't he be... Let's grab everyone with a cell phone now recording the fire.
What's going
Start
on?
Questioning them a little bit, but I understand that they were distracted by, you know, their partners being inside of a burning building.
In a very dire situation.
Yes.
But, so they find him, and they realize this sub-basement was basically like a fail-safe for him. So if he was in his workshop when someone came in, he would go down to the sub-basement, have the explosion happen so that people would think he died. So then they figured out there has to be a way out because if the explosion happened, there's firefighters and police officers all around. He can't just like walk out the front door. So once they find him at the crime scene, they can ask, how the heck do we get in there?
How do we get in there?
And then you see some walls being broken down.
And I love how forceful Beckett was at this point. You know, gun to head, and he's not saying anything. He's like, "What? Still playing on? What are you talking about? Your name's on every single one of these documents.
Don't lie to Beckett."
Sorry, I just burped a little bit. That was gross.
That's how passionate we are about this Castle episode.
I'm so sorry. But, you know, his name is signed. Like, you don't sign your name. You don't take down the buildings that you are connected to because...
Like, they're going to learn that pattern.
Yeah, they're going to learn the pattern. He's still trying to say it was not him. And Beckett's like, look, my friends are in there. If they die, you die. Exactly. And I believed her in that moment.
Heck yeah.
I was like, Beckett will kill you.
Oh my God. I didn't doubt her for a second.
Not for a second.
They get in there. They get Ryan and Espo are actually passed out from carbon monoxide. So they bring them out. They kind of wake up. And then he sees his baby. This was the part where I was wrong. Because... I was right on this one. I mean, we had a 50-50 chance. But I'm like, you know, they're going to survive. And so that baby is not going to be named Javier.
I kind of wanted the baby to be named
Javier.
It would have
been funny.
Just because Javi could have held that against him for the rest of his life. Like, hey, man, you made a passionate choice in the moment.
You got to live with it, dude.
Now your kid's named after me.
Oh, my God. Unfortunately, it was a daughter, and her name was Sarah Grace. But I don't know if you guys know this, but I just recently learned this, but Ryan and Jenny are actually married. The actors are married in real life. So, like, you have to imagine them filming that scene and they're actually husband and wife and all that emotion. I'm not sure if they have kids or not, but it was just like when you realize who they are to each other, there's like a whole nother level of emotion there.
Yeah, and I'm glad I didn't find that out until after the goodbye scene because I probably would have broken down even more. But I love that fun fact that they are actually married in real life.
Cute.
It was super cute.
And then like Lainey and Espo.
I mean, and that's what like went unnoticed kind of. It was so subtle because I noticed too because my eye's always on you, Espo. But even when Ryan was talking to Jenny on the phone, I thought at one point, you know, maybe Javi be like, hey man, let me talk to Lainey real quick.
Let me tell her I love her.
Tell her that I actually am in love with her, and
why can't they admit it?
We know things would work out better. But then, you know, she gets up out of the ambulance and runs to him, and even when Jenny and Ryan are together, and as a happy family moment, Espo and Lainey are together, and then Castle and Beckett are together.
It's just one big happy
And I was like,
family.
they didn't say anything, but in that moment, you're like, see, these are your true feelings. Just go back to each other and love. And Castle and Beckett and Lainey and Espo just have a double wedding.
Oh my God, you did say that. Yeah. Double wedding. I think that's a good idea.
Wedding for the season finale. How about that?
Ooh. Castle producers, are you listening?
Yeah.
Because I like that idea.
Exactly. So we got our happy ending.
But it was rough.
It was rough. I knew that they'd survive, but it was still hard to watch because those are characters that you love and you don't want anything bad to ever happen to. So it was
very, very heavy.
It was very heavy.
And because there was a lot at stake. I mean, his wife was going into labor. It's just you love those two characters.
And for the first episode back from a winter finale.
Yeah, that was a
I kind of
lot.
felt like that could have been a winter or a season
Right.
finale if they had ended it with the drop down and you don't know if they're alive or
Right.
dead. This episode, even with the way it ended, could have been a finale cliffhanger type of thing.
Right.
Most first episodes back from a season finale
Like,
are not
ease you
like,
back into it.
they were just like, nope, we're coming at you, cutthroat style.
Well, if this is the opener to the second half of the season, then I guess we're in for a lot of craziness this second half.
I can't wait to see what happens. And speaking of craziness, guys, we love what you're saying to us on iTunes. So make sure you get on iTunes and you rate, comment, and subscribe to our Castle After Show and any of the AfterBuzz TV after shows that we have on there. We produce over 60 shows a week, so there's something on there that you love, just like there's something on there that we love. And we always read your comments. So you can also find us on YouTube. You can watch and subscribe on there as well. And make sure you give us 5 stars on iTunes and leave us a nice little note, and we will try to read them all and write you back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that about wraps it for this episode.
Yes.
So I think we should talk about our predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Do you want to start?
Okay, so they had a little teaser for the next episode, so I guess I'm predicting based off of that.
Okay.
But Castle's dad is back, so I don't know if you guys remember back to like the whole Alexis being kidnapped and his father was like a CIA operative and just like he never knew his father, so it was kind of
weird and it was out there and it was kind of like taken, but
it was very like,
but it didn't work out quite that well because
so I'm kind of glad they're bringing him back for another episode. Maybe we'll get some more information and like I'll have obviously more interaction between the two because they don't know each other that well. I'd like to see Alexis. No Alexis.
And Pi.
And Pi, sure. Pi can come back. But I don't know. I need a little bit more levity. I want like a fun castle next week.
Next week looks a little bit lighter, but also serious because, you know, you hear Beckett saying, you know, you're harboring a fugitive. Like, you know, Castle's like, hey, that guy who's on your list, that's your future father-in-law.
Dad.
So clearly Castle and Beckett have some things they need to talk about still.
That wedding is just not coming anytime soon.
Their relationship. So I'd like to see more of the wedding planning. I say that every week, but until I get it, I'm gonna keep saying it.
Yeah.
And I'd also like to see Alexis back in the mix. I'd like to see Alexis maybe with her grandfather this time.
Yeah.
In a non almost losing your life kind of way.
I've been kidnapped and thank you for saving me, but I'm still in shock.
Yeah.
Not that kind of way.
Yeah, maybe like hey, Grandpa, let's have some cookies and milk.
Yeah, let's like grab a coffee.
Yeah. Go check out a movie.
Nice.
I don't know.
I like that. We'll see what happens.
Well, in the meantime, where can everyone find you on social media?
You can find me at Kate Aquillano on Twitter.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Tiona Hobson. And you can follow AfterBuzz TV at AfterBuzz TV. Paige will be back with us next week. We missed her so dearly.
Travel back safe.
Yeah, everyone, thank you for tuning in. And we will see you next week.
Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.